Welcome to Contempo. I am your host, Roberta Markbright. Thank you so much for being with us and for sharing with us. And please help me welcome a very important guest, who is Tim Wolf, who is running for a seat in the House of Representatives in District 9 in Congress. Welcome.
Well, thank you very much for having me.
Well, you're very welcome, and we're thrilled to have you back for episode 2.
Okay.
Let's get to know you. Tell us about yourself.
Okay. Well, you introduced me as Tim Wolf, and that's who I still am. I'm 58 years old. I'm from Bloomington, Illinois. I grew up there. I went to college there at Illinois Wesleyan University and got a bachelor's in business administration in 1975. I also have a bachelor's in accounting from Illinois State University in 1978. For those of you who know those colleges, it's the only Main Street in Bloomington Normal is the only street in the United States that has 2 major universities on it. So just thought I'd share that with you.
That's right. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that.
Oh, you're more than welcome. I also have a master's in taxation from Northern Illinois, which I got in 2003. What I do for a living is I'm a CPA. As I said, I'm a CPA. Or no, I guess I didn't say that.
No.
I am also a CPA, a certified public accountant, and a certified financial planner. I have my own tax and accounting practice in Mount Prospect, where I've been for about 20 years. And then prior to that, I was in public accounting for about 10 years. I live in Arlington Heights with my wife, Kyle, and we have 2 daughters. And we've been there a little bit over 30 years.
Wow, that's that's a great resume. You are very enthusiastic about your candidacy, and I'm sure people have asked you, why are you running for this office?
Okay. The reason I'm running is, well, I've never been in politics before, other than, talking with your friends and neighbors and, deciding who had the best argument, who was right, a Republican or a Democrat. But last summer I was listening to the debt crisis, the so-called debt crisis, and it really just solidified in my mind that we don't have enough serious people in Congress to make the tough financial decisions to really get our economy moving, jobs growing, and really get us out of this financial mess we're in. It's just getting worse every day, and it just seems like the people in Congress and our president are just incapable of making those decisions. So about the same time that I came to this realization, I also found out that there was this redistricting going on. And redistricting is a change in the boundaries and a change in the number of people in the district. In fact, in the state of Illinois, we went from 19 districts to 18 districts because we've lost population relative to the other states. And so those people in one of those districts have to be reapportioned, and so now the district is quite a bit bigger. So I just said, I'm not happy with what's going on. There's this redistricting. Who's the congressman in the 9th district? Currently, I'm in the 10th district with Bob Dole. And it turns out that Jan Schakowsky is the congressperson. And I thought, well, maybe I'll find out a little bit about her. And found out that she's probably one of the most liberal people in Congress. She's very progressive. That's kind of the same word as socialism, although socialism is not used as much as progressivism. And I said, this really isn't the type of person I want as my congressman. And I started to look around and say, who's running? And there was nobody running. I don't know whether there's nobody who had enough courage to run against her. She won by pretty substantial margins in prior races, but I just said, somebody's got to do something. And I'd never served in the military before. I thought this is a great opportunity to serve my country, and so I'm going for it.
Well, good luck.
Here I am.
Here we are. Describe the towns that are in the 9th district. I mean, there are so many, and it's a very large district.
Yes, it is. And I refer to it as the new 9th district because it is quite a bit different. Just to kind of digress a little bit, Jan Schakowsky is won by pretty significant margins, as I had said, and that's because Chicago and Evanston, just by themselves, probably was 55% of the district. They're very heavily Democratic, and so once she won those two communities, she pretty much had the race locked up. Now those 2 cities represent maybe about 40% of the district. The district has moved further west to include Arlington Heights. It goes that far west. And it's gone north to include Winnetka. Some of the cities are Winnetka, Wilmette, Kenilworth, Glenview, Northbrook, Northfield.
Park Ridge.
Park Ridge has always been in the district. Park Ridge is in there, Lincolnwood. a substantial portion of, well, a big portion of Chicago, probably about 125,000 voters in Chicago. And then we've got Des Plaines, Mount Prospect, Arlington Heights, Wheeling, Prospect Heights, and all those, and Des Plaines. The towns west of Des Plaines are some of the new communities. And so the district is a lot more conservative than it was. And to be honest with you, well, I don't have to be honest, you know, the economy has gotten worse over the last 4 years. And I don't think I know anybody who's thinking that the economy is going to get that much better over the next 4 years. And maybe a lot of people are a little afraid that for sure it won't. And so I think these are some of the reasons that I think that I have a great chance of winning. People just are saying, we've given the person in Congress right now 14 years to make her mark, and with the economy the way it is, that's not even an issue for her.
Well, she is focused on one issue, but let's talk about that.
Okay, she is focused on women's health care issues, and that's a valid issue, a great issue, but it's not the most important issue. The most important issue is budgets, jobs, gas prices, becoming energy independent, reforming Medicare and Social Security, getting rid of Obamacare and getting back to a insurance-based, where insurance is based in the private industry, and we need to simplify taxes and lower the tax rates, and those are just things that she's not interested in doing.
Well, the Republicans have been accused of being at war with women. Now, what do you think about that?
I think I had heard that once or twice before. I think it's pretty ridiculous. First of all, it's so many issues. You know, there's a war against women. Well, what's the proof that there's a war against women?
Well, who said that?
Well, Jan Schakowsky is one person, and I'm sure there are other Democrats. But you know, what it boils down to with this contraceptive issue and the Health and Human Services, who's recently issued a mandate saying that employers have to cover their employees, including employers who feel that based upon their religion, the Catholic Church is a prime example, they shouldn't be required to pay for contraceptives. And so now it's become a First Amendment issue. And how somebody can say it's not a First Amendment issue and that's not much more important than contraceptives, I don't quite know how we've got there. So if you're saying that women's health care issues are synonymous with, or are more important than our First Amendment, I think there's a lot of people who might question that logic.
I'm going to quote you. I love this quote. You say, "I won't even begin to speculate about whether or not liberals and progressives are at war with men, because I don't hear anyone's advocating for my health concerns." You don't have to say anything about it, but I just love that quote that you have made. Are you going to be doing any town hall meetings, just going around before the next 5 months are over?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
I think we've kind of talked a little bit about, how are you going to get your name out there? What are you going to do? And besides just getting my name out there and talking with people like you and hopefully connecting with people so that they'll say, this guy's a real guy and he's got the same concerns I do and he's going to do something. And I'm hoping to do that through town hall meetings. I'm hoping to have 3 or 4 a week. I think starting June 16th might be my first one. Actually, I've already had one in Arlington Heights.
Oh, you have?
But that was kind of a dry run a little bit. I had some of my people who were supporting me there and kind of getting me through there. But I do want to have town hall meetings. My goal would be to have 3 or 4 a week. I have a fundraiser every week. It's been a pizza party for the last 2 weeks. Next week we're in Edison Park, and part of my district you probably know is Skokie and West Rogers Park. And one of the people supporting me said, "Let's have a kosher pizza party." So that'll be coming up soon.
You're going to do that?
Yes, EJ's in Skokie, I believe, is the name of the restaurant the person said. Have you been there?
Long time ago, okay. But it's a wonderful restaurant. Yeah, I love that.
Well, we'll make a point of inviting you.
Oh, please do, and we'll publicize it.
Okay.
You really do feel that your presence will impact Illinois issues. And let's talk about that. How will you what will you do about Illinois issues? Will you speak up?
I will definitely speak up. I mean, a lot of people have asked me, how are you going to get the real estate taxes down? And what are we going to do about these pensions? And I don't have a direct bearing on that because I don't vote in the Illinois House or Senate. But I think that the person in Congress has a special responsibility to speak up. You know, the congressman in the 9th district, or really any district in Illinois for that matter, should be speaking up and saying, Mike Madigan, you got to do things differently. We haven't paid for pensions for years. Let's get up, let's do something. We're $83 billion, we have an $83 billion liability as far as our pensions goes. I really think that's incumbent upon the congressman. And I haven't seen Jan Schakowsky stand up and say something. And she, of anybody, should probably be saying something because she was in the Illinois legislature herself for 8 years. And during that time she was there, I don't know her votes, but certainly she had an opportunity to have an impact on this pension situation, which has really grown out of control.
What about Social Security?
Okay.
Big problem.
Oh, absolutely. That's something we definitely need to reform. As you may or may not know, the position right now of the Republican Party is anybody 55 and older, their benefits are not going to be changed. People less than 55, their benefits will be changed, and they should be. When Social Security first started, the people didn't live much beyond 65, and therefore they didn't collect that long. Today, people live into their 80s. They might start collecting at 62, so that's 20-some years of collections on Social Security, and it's a great thing that they have that opportunity. But what's happened is when Social Security first started, it was supposed to be a supplement. It was supposed to be there in case people needed to, live their years in retirement in relative comfort. Now it's become an integral part of pension planning or retirement planning. And so people say, okay, I've got a plan with my 401k, and then I've got a plan with my Social Security, and it's all part of the package. So it's really, and it's not a small part of the package either. So it's kind of gotten out of hand. And so I really think that we need to increase the age at which people start receiving Social Security, because if they're living longer, it only makes sense that it doesn't start earlier, relatively speaking. I think the early retirement age needs to be moved up. I think the Medicare age needs to be coordinated with Social Security. And now it's not, because, for example, I would start Social Security at 67, but I could go on Medicare at 65. So however the age moves up for Social Security, the same should be done for Medicare. And of course, every program in our federal government has tons of waste and fraud. I think it's estimated at maybe between 10 and 15% in the Social Security and Medicare programs. And so that would be one of the first things I would do. I would say, let's put this situation out to bid to some professionals who are going to come in and look at the administration of the various programs and work to save money. And then out of that money they save, then they can be paid. So we're not talking about an additional expenditure. And this is what I find very aggravating. When programs are talked about and they're saying, well, over the next 10 years we're going to cut this, that, and the other. Let's start with the basics. Why are we saying we're going to do this and we're going to do that when we can't necessarily do it today? We can start to cut waste, fraud, and abuse today, and everybody knows it's there.
Oh, yes, that's for sure. Let's talk about the conceal and carry law.
Okay.
This has to do with guns, of course.
That's right. That's right.
How do you feel about that, or
okay.
What are your thoughts?
Well, we have a Second Amendment that says people have the right to bear arms, and so I think that that means what it says, just like many things in the Constitution. A person has a right to bear arms, and they have a right to carry their gun with them. That's what the conceal part is. Illinois is the only state in the entire country that doesn't allow conceal and carry.
That's astonishing.
That's right.
It's
It's unbelievable. But let me just throw in one thing. People maybe think about the Wild West. Everybody's got to pack in some heat. It's not like that. I mean, people have to be trained. They have to, go through whatever the rigorous programs are that have been set up for people to be qualified. They're mental state has to be an issue, and all the various things. I'm not sure of all the rules, but it's not just that you have a gun and you're going to go out and carry it, and if something's happening at McDonald's, you're going to crazily start shooting people. I don't own a gun. I'm not sure my wife will ever let me own a gun. So it's not that people are thinking, I've got to have a gun for whatever reason because I'm a man or whatever. It's something people should have the right to do, and some people feel that, well, to be honest with you, the reason people feel that they should have a gun, including the Founding Fathers, is to guard against the government usurping what the Constitution and their responsibility. And you can't tell me that this government doesn't have their nose in places it shouldn't be, and people, I think you can understand people being concerned.
Oh, sure. More and more so. Immigration, illegal immigration.
Okay.
Let's discuss that.
All right. Well, we have what's called a dictionary, and in there it says illegal is not legal. And so illegal immigration is something that we shouldn't have. It's against our laws. So I think we need to do something about it.
What can we do?
Okay. First of all, I don't agree with a path to citizenship. If a person came here illegally, they shouldn't be a citizen. Now, there are people who have been here a long time and have established, residency here. They've been here, they've got their job, they've never been in trouble, they've got kids and grandkids, and maybe there should be something considered for them, but not citizenship.
Okay.
The second thing I think we need to do is we need to take a look at these things called sanctuary cities. Do you know what that is?
No, explain
Okay.
what that
A
is.
sanctuary city is a city where the immigration rules are not followed. So if a policeman, for example, has the opportunity to ask somebody if they're an illegal alien for whatever reason, they're basically ordered not to. And so I think any sanctuary city, which includes the city of Chicago, I think all federal money should be cut off. We have laws for a reason. We need to follow those laws. And then the next thing I would be in favor of, and I would certainly support, because I would support a constitutional amendment. And let me just say two things. The constitutional amendment would be that just because you're born in the United States, that doesn't make you a citizen. Your parents have to be citizens. You can't just come from a foreign country, be born here, and then just because your parents brought you here for whatever reason, that shouldn't make you a citizen.
So I think you're referring to many who do come here illegally and purposely have children or have babies.
That's correct.
So the babies will be the citizen and they can stay here.
Right. The government's kind of in a spot now where the person's going to say, oh, my kid's here and they've been grown up here and they're citizens.
Yeah.
How can you send me back? And, I don't want to be cruel, but, the rules are the rules, and there are ways to come into this country legally.
Well, it sure sounds like it and looks like it. Let's talk about you keeping your word. You seem like the kind of person that will keep your word. Talk is easy, but you're not just talking.
Right.
You intend to act on your word. So what would you like to see yourself be doing?
Okay. I would like to be involved in budgetary issues. I'm a CPA, so I know about taxes and budgeting, and so I'd like to be involved in one of those committees. Is that the question, or are you asking, what would I, kind of maybe more what my general philosophy is, or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
What is your general?
Well, I guess what I'm saying is I'm running for office because of our financial situation. I'm no different than you. I get my real estate tax bill, and I know the value of my property's gone up. It's gone down, but the property tax has gone up. I know that, we've got income taxes that are potentially in January, I don't know if you know it, but we're facing the largest tax increase in the history of the United States in January if things don't change. I see these things, and so I want to tell you, and I want to tell all the people listening, and all the people I'm going to see at parades and town halls and everything, I want to go to work for you. I want to go to work for me too. I want to fix things. This country is not operating the way it should be. And if you find that I'm not doing what I'm telling you I'm going to do, or at least attempting to do what I can do, an election's coming up in 2 years, and you should vote me out. And I hope you do.
Wow. If you don't, but
if I don't do what I say I'm going to try and do, I'm not going to say I'm not going to be, crazy and say, well, I'm going to accomplish this, this, and this. and know 100% it's going to be done. It doesn't. Nothing in life works that way.
Right.
But you've got a newcomer who is saying they want to accomplish things for you, the citizen. Not a Republican, not a Democrat. You compare me to the person who's been in office for 14 years, who is a highly partisan Democrat. Mm-hmm. She's on the Obama re-election committee. You know what she's going to do. All that I'm saying is, you know what she's going to do. She's not interested in making these decisions about the financial issues. She's not interested in income taxes and tax simplification. She's interested in women's health care, as we talked about. I'm just asking you to give me a chance.
Wonderful. Why should you win? You wanted me to ask you, why do you think you can win?
Well, I think the answer to the last question kind of touches on that. And one of the previous answers also touches on it. The district's changed. Mm-hmm. It's more conservative. It's less, Democrat. I really try and not use the Democrat-Republican words as much as maybe a lot of people might, because I'm running as an American. I want to work for you. I haven't asked you, whether you're a Republican or Democrat, and it doesn't really matter, because I will work just as hard for you as the person behind the camera over there, whatever, whether he's a Republican or a Democrat or an independent.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter, because we're all Americans. We all have the same Constitution. I'm hoping we're all fighting for the same thing.
Do you think that's in the media's eyes, would that be a plus or a minus for you? Because we have very many fanatic, partisan citizens who will not look the other way or not, listen to other people. You're not aligning yourself with any particular party, but the American people. Is that a plus for you, do you think? Well,
I am running as a Republican. I have to run somewhere.
Yeah.
But I am saying to people, I go to train stations, for example, and they go, "Oh, how could anybody be a Republican?" And probably 9 times out of 10, I might walk away. But that one time, I'm going to say, you know what? I may be a Republican and running as a Republican, but let's be an American. Are you going to vote based upon whether somebody's a Republican or a Democrat, or are you going to vote on whether they're talking about the issues that you're concerned about? Mm-hmm. Why should you vote for somebody whose interest is 100% different than yours? Why shouldn't you vote for somebody who's going to try and reduce taxes and make the economy work so you can get a job? I know a lot of people who haven't had a job for 2, 3, 4 years. I mean, yeah. I wasn't alive in the Depression, but I don't think it's been since then when people have been out of work that long. It's frightening. How many days of the week do you get up and see a new place that's closed business?
Yeah, especially neighborhood places, even big companies. How are you going to? We talked about your town hall meetings and other things. How are you going to make the public aware of you? How are you going to become visible?
Okay, well, the town hall meeting is one of them. A town hall meeting is kind of a glorified question and answer period. We will advertise through the internet. There's 6 or 7 townships and 7 wards in the district, and so the township will send out emails to people, in that township. That Tim Wolf's having a town hall meeting. I have people who are, on my email list. I'll send out notices of the town hall meetings. That's how we get people there. We'll send out, we'll take advertisements to local businesses. I'll be in parades. Anything I can do to get my face out there, because you might be able to tell I'm probably not the neatest, handsomest guy in the world, but I think that I'm hoping that you and the people watching this program will say, yeah, that guy is, he's a little more on our level.
You're more human.
Yeah, and so I'm hoping that people want to come to these things and see me walking in the parade. And I have to tell you, I was in my first parade this last week.
Oh, where?
In Arlington Heights, the Memorial Day Parade.
Oh.
And I was just a few spaces behind the Schakowsky people. I don't know if Jan was actually there or not, but anyway, I was walking in this parade, and of course you're supposed to wave, and it just felt kind of odd that, why are these people expecting, or why am I expecting people to, wave back to me or whatever?
What was your answer?
To myself?
To yourself?
To myself is, you've got to be pleasant, you've got to, show people you're concerned, and you got to go over there and shake their hand. Matt Murphy, who was a state senator, was right behind me, and boy, he was all over the place shaking hands, and I go, would you join my campaign?
Well, will he?
He didn't say he would, but he didn't say he wouldn't either. So maybe I at least could get some pointers from him. But it was fun, and I'm looking forward to the 4th of July. I think I'm going to be in 3 parades on the 4th of July.
Where?
I'm looking at Arlington Heights, of course, that's a big one. Skokie at noon.
Oh, that's a wonderful
and then,
parade.
Possibly Evanston at 2 o'clock, I believe, on July 4th. And then Wilmette has a parade on July 3rd.
Yes.
And I'm hoping that I'll find out where all the parades and events are at, and if I'm not at one of them, hopefully somebody else will be. And they'll be having, I didn't bring one with me, but we have a great T-shirt. And right on the back of it, you may want this. You may want one of these, and you can get one. It says, "Join the Wolf Pack."
Oh, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. I think a lot of people don't know what a congressman does, or
Okay.
what is the definition of a congressman.
Okay.
What is that?
Well, a congressman really does 2 things, basically. They do a lot of things, but their main 2 functions are to be writers of the law. Mm-hmm. They're the only body in the 3 different bodies, the executive, the legislative, and judicial. They're the ones who write the laws, and then they're passed and they go on to the president for signature. So that's 1. And then 2 is they're responsible for the budget. They're kind of the financial stewards. And if you think $15 trillion in debt is probably a lot of money, then you might say, well, they're maybe not doing the best job they could be.
This is a rhetorical question. How did Illinois get to be in the situation it's in?
By deferring paying their bills. And it's unfortunate because we've got just as much here as probably any state in the union in terms of natural resources, including Lake Michigan, a highway system that, but this is kind of a hub across the country. We've got fantastic land. I'll never forget that as I grew up in Bloomington, Illinois, right in my backyard was a big cornfield.
Oh,
so
those were the good old days.
Yeah, it was a completely different time, that's
Tim,
for sure.
what has this experience so far done for you?
It depends when you ask me. Like, we have a nice chat today.
Yes.
But I was also telling you, when I'm in my office, there's a lot of things going on. It can be a little nerve-wracking. But
Sure.
I think all in all, I'd have to say I'm really anxious to see how this thing concludes, and really anxious to see what the learning experiences I have are going to be. I mean, I'm sure there's things that I'll never forget. The one thing I hope I will never forget is when they say that you won.
That's for sure.
So.
Tim, thank you so much for being here, and good luck.
We're done?
We are done.
Oh,
it goes fast, doesn't it?
Can I come back?
Of course. You'll be back later, say October or so.
Well, can we do maybe October and then maybe November 7th?
Perfect.
All right.
We'll do it.
Very good. Thank you very much for having me.
Our pleasure, and thank you for being here. We've really enjoyed you.
Okay.
And thank you. And we'll see you next time on Contempo. Thank you for sharing. Bye-bye. We could talk forever, couldn't we?
I stumbled out of the block.